And what they do is operate from this perspective. The persons who are claiming to be magistrates and judges have vestment in private prisoner of war camps that they've been calling public prisons, and having the public pay for the buildings of them, but yet they are actually profit centers for human trafficking, including that gives them a locked in and how do you say a body of people to experiment on with biological warfare, biological drugs, vaccines, and other poisons, etc., and also to use for promoting their genocide modification programs, etc., and then make the people pay for it, and also put liens on the estates of the people who go through the system. And the people in general have no idea that these are actually private for-profit human trafficking platforms. And that is your modern version of hell, although they still have hell, but it's more expanded in so much as many of you have heard of the military underground facilities that have been operating all across the world, and with many of their operative command centers being at North America under the jurisdiction of the operatives or the Roman Curia members known as the U.S. Congress, etc. That is also the executor's chambers. But it's an expanded operation in so much as it deals with humans, not just because they haven't paid taxes or homage to the priesthood, i.e., or the popes of Rome, or the members of the Roman Curia. And most of you would know the members of the Roman Curia loosely as maybe the Bilderbergers, the Illuminati, Grand Dragons of the Ku Klux Klan, as an example, like Senator Byrd, who's one of his most favorite ghouls was known as Joe Biden, who is now operative praetor. So praetor, Preator, is the actual position of the people who have been operating that you've been calling president. They're really praetors. So these are some of the reality of political dynamics and paradigms that the people are actually dealing with, and they are not aware of it. And while much of the information and realities have been suppressed from the masses, you know, what we try to do here at the House of Reawakening Minds is to present some things without being overburdening with burdening with the people, so that they can start taking responsibility and look at things as in a more real sense, because it's the state of mind that the people have that has much to do with the cures that we must bring ourselves. And this is back to it's uncomfortable for a lot of people to recognize that we have to start taking responsibility for our lives and stop looking for, you know, the rescues of the messiahs in the concepts that they have been telling you, because that was also one of the skilled arts of the dark priesthood, to keep the people passive while they were being destroyed and raped, etc. And they've been quite successful at it. So we can't say that they haven't been successful at it, because they absolutely have. However, because things have are more in the open now, meaning that the dark priesthood, they're not using a lot of what you call structured programs as they used to do to cover up their projections and misrepresentations and connotative linguistics. They're just bluntly doing things to the people. This is also why, I think it was around maybe 16 or 17 years ago, we started sharing with you the evidence of the corporate papers for the United States Corporation, because we know that a lot of people that we've been telling for years that the United States was actually a trading company and not a country. And so we showed the people and shared with you their actual corporate papers, or verified copies of their actual corporate papers, so that you could recognize that it's not a country; they are a private corporation. And the fact that they've been bankrupted and they keep producing new shells has been because the the Congress for the corporation, as presumed to be by the people, was actually and always has been since 1861, and in fact, kind of like really before that. But as far as documented admission, board of trustees, and board of directors for that private corporation of operations of human trafficking, etc. And these are some of the things that have been going on, particularly since occupation of the North. Um, when people make reference to the 1492 era, one of the things that the hybrids have been doing, aside from burning books, was taking much and many of the prime or prize literature and scientific disciplines of the ancient world and actually housing them. And this has much to do with many of the secret societies that they have established, that many of you are familiar with. Um, because a lot of the advanced disciplines that they may learn and take death oaths of not revealing to the public in general is actually ancient Asiatic African science and culture from the ancient Sabian Moors, and that's the truth. And to cover up the whole dynamics of the ancient Sabian Moors, or they'll talk about Sabbath, which we've done that many times over and over again, to kind of clear the people's mind up. They covered up with the word Jew because they've stole the jewels of our wealth. They stole the jewels or the pinnacle light or the crystal facets of our knowledge, etc. And so today, people are under the impression, as an example, when they're looking at different crafts, Romana and stuff like that, that they've been seeing more lately than they did before, in the skies, particularly if you look in the northwestern areas, um, and think that they'll call them UFOs and things like that, not knowing that these were kind of like lightweight, back engineered replicas of stuff that we've had for thousands of years, including technology. As an example, so you see this little image here of this little image of an elephant as an example. Packaged energy like this actually ran territories. As far as, like, say, for instance, if you're looking from a jurisdictional perspective of, say, Shakamoxon area, Shekyabi area, say Pennsylvania, Jersey, land of Nod, you call New York, we call that the land of Nod, all the way up to Canaan land, etc. It would be an energy module about this size that actually ran all the energy there, and that is in that whole area and could go further. And that's thousands of years old. It's old stuff. One of the things that is uncomfortable right now, and another reason why we're talking about this, about hell, Midgard, and the executor's chamber, is because it is important for the people, those who are willing, to actually go within themselves and to start activating the old memory of that their mother gave them. You all have it, because everybody kind of knows that the hybrids are trying to kill the people off. So let's just go through the chase and not beat around the bush. They intend to kill you off. That's just the truth. And then claim Midgard, and it might sound outlandish to you, but actually that's the fact. And I think a lot of times we get into conversations about correcting the political platforms, and getting people to respect, people's right of voting and things like that. And we go through those exercises because for learning purposes. But in the reality of it all, we're really past all that, because that paradigm really is one of the control at modification systems of the engineering that was put in place also to maintain and promote docility. And a lot of times when we talk about constructing instruments and writs, etc., over the years to address the hybrids who have been personating as government, it is much of it actually is for your own learning and for our own learning, because we've been so out of the loop of self-government and not knowing that these people are actually invaders, um, and that this was actually, they're talking about as lately about the legitimate republic being captive. And the real deal is they're avoiding telling you that the government was captured far before that. It's sort of like uh, occupiers being betrayed by other occupiers among them, and they're battling over an estate and a political platform that originated not with either of them. And so they're still trying to avoid telling the truth about the history here, and the fact that North America is Morocco. And rather than say Casablanca, they'll say White House, because it means Casablanca. And that they have a tunnel system that goes across the planet, and particularly across the north to the south, and even under the water to Cuba and to some of your other islands, etc., actually with what you call intersecting networks. And this is also laid out even from Washington, from the Chrome or the Crown Seat, that is known as District of Columbia. And as some of these things, people are looking at some of these things coming out, etc., and looking at them as, devastatingly revealing. I'm not minimizing them, but I'm saying this. We have to go kind of beyond that, because the reality of it, all of this is just to smash your face to come into reality, but you're going to have to kind of advance far beyond that. However, some of these mental exercises that we've been dealing with over the years here have been necessarily kind of like to get your brain working, to be honest with you, with no intention of stagnating you, but also knowing that every time we speak, there's going to be counter moves, so we're careful of what we say, because we know that they're counter moves.
Before you go any further, there are a couple of questions that you might want to address. There were two questions that asked about who were the hybrids, and if there was only one race, then who did they mix with? Aliens, reptilians?
All right. Now, see, when you know that this is Midgard, and we've been telling you over the years, really, that Earth means inhabited place. And while we've been saying Midgard, I know it's been passing a lot of people's ears. We've told them, but we're careful about how much we say, because we already know that because there's battles that are going on, that much information will be blocked, and they'll get none if it's determined by the priesthood. So we try to expose or speak of some things in a manner that it can get people to start using their intelligence, because we also know that humanity also has what you will call trigger points within them in their cell memory, that if you talk along certain lines, that they will wake up in some areas, and many of them will know and start talking among themselves, etc., which is really what we've been trying to seek to do. Because we also know you never say too much, but if you're just blunt and open and honest, not only will most people not believe you, those who have been holding humanity to forced servitude will attack them and you too, and shut down so that the others can't get. And then plus they have a practice of hurting people around you in order to block. And has been much of the reason why they've been ruling so long. However, the interesting thing that we talked about before, and that we'll mention again, and we've said it, and I know that some of you who know better recognize when it was said to you, when we reminded people that the Earth has already gone through the futon belt and that there's a different energy here. So you would add to that what you know that was going unspoken, and understand that a lot of the methodologies used by the dark priesthood to pull the people into the pit of ignorance wouldn't work no matter what they did. However, because the people are in a state of kind of like a coma state, based on that they've been groomed under dogma systems for so many generations, that their lack of awareness is kind of both a state of self-defense and denial combined. And sometimes people aren't willing to look at themselves or to really admit their own hypocrisy, out of fear, guilt, superstition, people who are around them, imagery, uh, threats for their job. However, we're at a place now that because the platforms that were constructed under the energy of the Piscean star system constellation, it can't operate cleanly under Aquarian lights. These are things, not things that you don't know. These are things that you, for the most part, most of you already know.
Are you saying that you cannot
Meaning,
disclose what the hybriding process? What do you mean when you talk about the hybrids? Because that's basically what the question is.
For those of you, I'll give you a source to keep it simple. This is for the average person that's reading or that's sharing with us tonight. Go to your Oxford dictionaries pre 1960 and look up these three things: Anthropopithecus, troglodyte nigger, and look up hybrid and put them all together. Put the definitions all together and go into the etymology, which you will see within the context of the linear entries. And in your more modern dictionaries, it will not be there. It will be in your older dictionaries. This is again part of the expurgatorious operations, or what the people refer to as book burnings. So when they talk about the burning, they think hell's burning, fire, stuff like that. But it's really a general operations at Midgard. So, and you will find roughly around entry 8. And so what they would do, they would take the denotation meanings and lower them in the sequence of the linear entries of definitions and insert the connotative linguistics first. However, at about 0.8.
No, it was Anthropopithecus.
I
got it. And then what was the next one?
Troglodyte nigger. and hybrid.
Okay.
And take all the definitions, take all the denotative definitions, harmonic with its etymology, which you'll see structured in there, and put them together, and you will see very clearly that the hybrid Europeans who refer him to himself as an Englishman or Angloman will say, we Englishmen at best are but heterogeneous hybrids. We Englishmen at best are but heterogeneous hybrids. Now, one of the scientific terms given to the heterogeneous hybrid would be Paleolithic man, sometimes referred to as modern man, sometimes referred to by the German tribe naturalists like Mendelein. You can talk about Blumenbach, Linnaeus, etc. And they'll talk about the looking for the framework or the skeletons of the morphing or evolutionary development of hominidae becoming man out of the Pongidae species, etc. Or what they say, the monkey, etc. Darwin, etc. And people like him. And so people would think that the man evolved from